Stop defending Jennelle Eliana. Now, you say, how did I run across her video? Actually, it showed up on my homepage. Why did it show up on my homepage? Well, I assume because I seen a van life video many months ago. It was actually because of Steffi Lee that I saw a van video, and I saw a Steffi Lee video because of Claire Wineland, I believe. And I've ran across a Claire Wineland video because of a Boogie 2988 video, I believe. So it all kind of interrelated because Boogie was dealing with his, I guess, health issues at that time. And then I guess it spiraled into me seeing the Claire Wineland and then to the Steffi Lee. So there was that kind of connection. YouTube makes connection along various lines, various titles, things of that nature. We know how that goes. You say how to run across Boogie 2988. It's because of the no, or what was the no at that time. I don't know what they call it now because I really stopped watching. You say how to run across the no. Well, I ran across the no because or actually ran across the no due to the fact of it was No Man's Sky, and I ran across No Man's Sky because I was actually looking it up because I was interested in that game when I heard about it before it even came up. But I'm getting a little off base. But as you know, everything's interconnected. So yeah, that popping up kind of caught me off guard at first. But then I remembered, oh hey, yeah, I saw a video by a certain person, which I couldn't remember at that time. But after seeing Jennelle Elana's videos, eventually a Steffi Lee video popped up, and then the bell went off in my head that hey, okay, now I remember the exact direct connection. But that's not the point of this video, if you will. I'm just saying she doesn't need to be defended. Now, the reason why I think she's being defended is something psychological, but I'll get to that after a while. First video I seen was a shower video. Uh, Now, seeing that first, before seeing her first video on the channel, came across as more of an act, if you will. That, hey, that whole overall climbing up all around the thing, the thing being the van and being over top of the shower and taking care of that seemed like a straight up act. It didn't seem like I was really gleaming any information just to find out that, hey, she'll shower at the gym, has a gym membership, and will shower at the gym. It didn't seem like van life is being sold exactly or being explained or being educated on something. It just seemed like some I'm not gonna say low grade, but more like a Disney Nickelodeon, uh, early Nick Cannon, Keenan and Kel and all that kind of comedy going on, if you will. Amanda Bynes kind of comedy going on, if you will, coming from somebody that's like 20 some years old. So it seemed like it was catering to that like tween, teen, that younger kind of crowd, just for the sake of it. Even by the way, her body movements and jumping around just to have that, climb up on the van with the overall and have the wetsuit and things of that nature. You know, flipping around, rolling around like a young teenager, not controlling their body. Not even a young teenager, but like a tween. Even someone young is not controlling their body and is being all over the place. So that seemed to hold that entire segment, including filling up the water, seemed like a complete act. And like, what are we doing here? Then I saw the Q&A next. And then we get something that seems a little bit scattered brained, if you will. Then we have the typical, hey, this is overwhelming, mental, physical health, it's taking a toll on me. And that seemed like a typical YouTuber, vlogger kind of thing, and I'm overwhelmed. And then you also have the part where she said she couldn't film because she didn't like the way her voice sound. But if you're supposed to be the real deal, giving us van life, yo, I'm under the weather. This is what it is. I'm just keeping it real. I'll give you all the raw deal. But it seemed like more of an act that she has to be put on, has to have all the makeup and all that. And like, yo, what's van life about? Educate me on that. Entertain me within the framework of that van life. Cause this looks like a reality TV show at this point. And then you have the part about her, her job situation, and it's like, hey, okay, look, this is like this cool, this working out. Let me focus on YouTube. It's like she's actually becoming like a reality TV in the same vein of those MTV shows from the real world to the road rules. Even if you want to encompass the whole TRL era with this made for this type of younger consumption, if you will, in terms of the whole TRL boy bands and the Britney Spears and the Christinas, even though Christina could really sing and everybody came around that point from the Mandy Moore, Jessica Simpsons, eventually all the way to Avril that eventually eliminated pretty much all of them, blew it out the water, and pretty much did on par with them by the time TRL ended in 2008. But I wasn't even really checking for it like that back then. But let me get back on the topic. You seem manufactured. And it seemed like people were just out here just defending that. Talking about, oh, it's a personality. But a personality is coming across like Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Like replace the bike with the van. I'm seeing Pee Wee's Big Adventure in that shower video. I'm like, what? This is really what popping? We just selling this fake reality? So seeing that shower video first, secondly, seeing that Q&A, I'm like, really? Really? This is what it? This was so great. She's really getting by because of this personality, which is really a persona in the act. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a plunge, watch that first video. And actually, before I saw the first video, I saw like this little tiny house video thing. I'm like, okay, this seems a little more natural, and her being bubbly, within the realm of what's going on, and not actually putting on for camera. Even the first video had an authentic kind of feel, authentic kind of human personality. Like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I can dig that. Even though that first video didn't do the numbers that second video, but that was informative and entertaining at the same time. And her awkwardness, little comedy quirkiness was like comic relief just to break up the monotony of being highly informative about her van and her van living situation. So that actually worked good in that first video. That first video was good in terms of the content. Obviously, yeah, shaky cameras. Sometimes she was shooting with the light directly behind her and having these weird lens flares. And she had some other errors, so it wasn't as polished as that shower video. So she improved just off glance from the first video to the second video. It seemed like she became a YouTuber and is playing up to the cameras. So that's not really something that I found interesting. But based on the first video, I can see where she had some good content qualities and could actually entertain, inform, not coming off as act, not coming off as phony. But it took me actually going back to that first video and watched another video on tiny houses to actually realize that, to see, okay, I get it why she's somewhat entertaining, has an appeal. But this brings me to the question is, a lot of people are running to her defense when people talk about, hey, people subscribe to it automatically, even though some people, okay, can admit that, hey, sometimes YouTube does subscribe people, and that's what it is. She had a small Instagram following, even by visual admission in her own video, had a few thousand, so the push wasn't really there. But then you do see that she did have some, I guess you said, key shout out and Philip DeFranco and some other key shout out shares within that van life community. You heard about her being shared around Facebook. And then you have the curiosity of the Jennelle Eliana being being on being on forums out there on the internet, be it from or be it from like the Reddits or even other forums that cater to certain demographics, usually a black demographic, being Lipstick Alley, or see somebody with the collie, she's coming up there, which those skew tend to be tend to skew black. So people say, "Hey, check out this black girl doing this and that." So yeah, I can see where she could have that push. Like I said, I'm not sure if the push is because of curiosity. I'm sure curiosity played a part, saying, "Hey, was this black girl doing this van life, living such and such kind of life? Cool." But then when people start questioning how could she grow that fast and why she have certain shout outs, people just start ignoring that, say, "I don't care, I don't care." Especially a lot of these comments out there, how she grew, or she was a plant, and they had like some kind of vested interest in her, just to defend her. Like I said, that could be a self-esteem issue, or trying to say, hey, such and such people, minority, black, people, color, however you want to define it, mixed race, can do something that a white person can do, or it's good to see that. And outside of being a young child, do you really need to see somebody that looks like you to know you can do something? Because some of these people are adults. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, the commonality doesn't come down to your skin tone, or knowing that somebody can do something, or prove to somebody that you can do something. You can do it because you want to do it because a human being did it. Like, grow up. You don't need that beyond maybe a child, because your commonality is gonna come from your mindset. Obviously, you're gonna have a racial commonality in terms of the way white supremacy can treat you. But then there's also another commonality which she's not going to have with the average black American that descended from chattel slavery, which is another commonality. So yeah, she's black, but her black, by her own admission, is Ethiopian. So that's not the same as someone that descended from slaves in the United States. They're going to have a different, more than likely a different background, a different lineage, a different set of baggage, and a different set of circumstances that could cause their own issues. And I'm not saying that she has it easy, because by her own admission, she had her family issues, and I believe she's gonna be the first person to go to college in the family. So yeah, she have similar issues according to a black American that descended from chattel slavery. But the way people defend her, you don't know who that is, who that commonality is. And some of these same people defended Barack Obama for various things, and he came up short in the black community. But that's another video, another topic. You can check out my political videos that are in the playlist Real World Politics on my channel about that. But the point is, the way people are defending Jennelle Eliana, is a reflection of the people themselves, that they want to see her do that for some reason. Like, it makes them feel better about their own selves. Like, no, I mean, defend her because you think that, hey, she grew organically, but you just defend her because you just want to see this young mixed race or minority or black woman do something along those lines. Like, hey, she can do it like these white girls, and they don't say nothing about these white people, but like, come on, we're in this critical thinking. I get it, it's entertainment, so it's not as serious, but I've seen that same reaction to Barack Obama, other black politicians, and like, wait a minute, you have to have that critical eye to say, hey, it's because we share the same skin tone, or we could even share the same lineage in terms of descendant from chattel slavery in America, or you might have had your own slavery situation in your country. Doesn't put us with the same interests. Just because you're a minority doesn't mean we have the same interests. You have to know who you're dealing with, what their background is, what their views are. And I'm not saying that Jennelle Eliana is a bad person, because we don't know anything else about her besides her van life and some of her personal struggles and the things that she overcame and her work situation and how she feels about YouTube and things of that nature. But the point is, let people be critical. I think people are just getting so caught up in their own selves and rushing the defender and just going based off of nothing. Yeah, some people out there I'm sure are attacking her because they feel like a minority, a black person is being promoted, etc. And I kind of get that offense to a degree, but like, yo, step back, process, taking all the information, and see what's really good with her. I don't get that. I feel you need to be critical when it comes to these situations, but that's just my opinion. I can see why she caught on based on the first videos. Second type of videos, more of an act, more of a put on for the camera, saying, "Hey, YouTube, I know I'm here, and I'm just gonna follow this formula, follow a little bit of drama with YouTube overwhelming me in the mental health thing." Even though it could be true, but it's getting very formulaic, adding some what I could say more of an acting kind of quirk with that shy video along the lines of these Pee Wee Hermans, the Ernest of the world. We've seen this play out, reality TV version of it. First video seemed the most authentic, where you could actually see her real personality, the humor within the situation, not put on no show. So please, don't defend Jennelle. Just keep an open mind. See what's what. Gather your facts. Gather information. She doesn't need defending from many of these attacks, if you will. Even though I want to call it attacks, saying how did she grow? How did she get this? Is YouTube promoting her? Now it's something that gleams into the racial territory, or her being a woman, or whatever else you feel, and you feel you got to defend on terms of that. Okay, but someone keeps a critical eye about how she grew and about the shout outs. Nobody's being a hater. Just be like, cool. All right, keep open mind. You don't know her. You ain't got to defend that type of thing. That's my take. Iceberg Jim out. Deuces.